Sarah's Bed and Breakfast by Dean R. Blanchard. Narrated by Markham. For my beloved daughter Melissa and my twin sons Jason Dean and Justin Drew. Chapter 1. Soon after Beulah Anderson opened Sarah's Bed and Breakfast, she decided to investigate the dilapidated garage to see if there were any items of value. The pungent odor of mold and mildew so filled the air that Beulah started to leave. It was then that she caught sight of an object that sat on top of a workbench that was cobwebbed with an assortment of carpentry items. When she got a closer look at the object, she discovered that it was a metal box. With her fingers, she picked up the metal box, and as she did, a fine layer of dust that covered the metal box exploded into the air. She fanned the air around her face with her hand. After a few moments, the dust settled, and then she took the metal box into the kitchen and had set it next to the kitchen sink to clean it off when Tony Wong and Ethan, Sarah Covington's only son, arrived to tear down the garage. Tony poured 2 cups of coffee, one for himself and one for Ethan. They walked over to Beulah and looked over her shoulder. Ethan asked, "Where did you find this box?" "Out in the garage," Beulah said. She removed a blackened towel and detergent from under the sink. She held the metal box over the kitchen sink as she sprayed the box with detergent, and then rinsed and wiped the box clean. It was then she noticed a name written in red, Rose C. Beulah had a junk drawer at the bottom of the kitchen counter. She opened the drawer and removed a hammer. When she hit the metal box with the hammer, the lid fell off because the hinges of the box were rusted. Ethan and Tony stood behind her and looked over her shoulder to see what was in the metal box. They saw several small discolored photographs taken with a Kodak Brownie camera, along with a piece of yellowed notepaper that read, "I will never forgive you." Thinking aloud, Ethan asked, "Rose C? Was she a Covington?" "I have no idea," Beulah said. She put all the items back inside the metal box, and soon after that she looked at Tony and said, "I sure would like to know what this is all about," Tony suggested. "Why don't you put it on the fireplace mantel? A great mystery of ours." Beulah thought a lot about the metal box the rest of the day. In the meantime, Ethan helped Tony raise the dilapidated garage. Tony hooked up a come-along to his pickup and fastened a steel wire to one corner of the garage. With just one pull on the steel wire, the building collapsed to the ground, sending pungent dirt in all directions. Tony drove the sagging pickup to a landfill, where he and Ethan dumped the remains of the garage. Beulah sketched plans to construct a new garage with a studio apartment above it. This would be her own residence. Tony had gone to the lumberyard and purchased cedar boards and the other required materials. He built a covered staircase from the studio apartment down to the main floor of Sarah's Bed and Breakfast that opened to the back of the building, adjacent to the back door. It was a timely decision because business had increased at the Bed and Breakfast to the point where Beulah needed to put in many hours each day managing the business. Chapter 2. At times when Beulah could slip away from Sarah's Bed and Breakfast, she would explore antique shops, flea markets, and garage sales. This is how Beulah found pictures, pillows, bed sheets, and some knickknacks she would use in Sarah's Bed and Breakfast. She took Ethan and Margot, Tony's daughter, with her whenever the 3 of them could get together. Beulah knew the difference between an antique and a piece of junk. The highlight of one of her shopping sprees came about when Beulah found a multicolored tablecloth and a 12-piece setting of fiesta ware made by Homer Laughlin, complete with drinking glasses. Ethan had gifted Beulah with his mom's china. Each plate had a fluffy rose with the Homer Laughlin seal on the back. He also gave Beulah his mom's wedding tablecloth with a faded whiskey spill on one corner, along with her wedding flatware, American Harmony by Oneida. All these were gifts that his mom and dad received from their Grange families on the day of their wedding. Beulah bought a china hutch with etched glass doors that had a light inside of it. She put all of Sarah's china and flatware in the hutch. In one long drawer, Beulah placed the linen tablecloth with the faded whiskey stain on one corner. That tablecloth would become the topic of many conversations in Sarah's Bed and Breakfast. For the first year after Sarah's death, Beulah wept at her memories of Sarah each time she held one of those dishes. Eventually, she remembered what she told Sarah the first time Sarah showed her the priceless wedding gifts. They were stored in a cardboard box in Sarah's
Sample complete. Ready to continue?